Cenarius. Slight spoilers. So Cenarius, as demigod, mentor of Malfurion, one of the most powerful druidic figures out there, as close as he is to the nightmare, that makes him equally prone to its corruption and equally vulnerable. So whether he dies or not, that's something we'll have to see, but you will be facing him as a raid boss in the Emerald Nightmare. Finally, Xavius. Now, when he manifests himself in our world, Xavius looks like a satyr. But in the Nightmare, this is his domain. We play by his rules. He takes on any form he chooses, and he is grossly misshapen, grotesque, and he awaits at the deepest, darkest heart of the Nightmare when you make it there. So that's going to be the first raid zone. Second, actually, let's watch a video. So yeah, if you look at that video, you might have noticed a couple of familiar locations. Remember, the dream is a parallel of Azeroth, and so the nightmare, so too, is it a parallel. Next from there, later on, we'll be moving on to the Palace of Suramar. This is a 10-boss raid that is Gul'dan's base of operations, where the Legion are in league with, as Julian mentioned earlier, the Nightborn of Suramar. This is where what will be the final pillar of creation, the Eye of Aman'Thul, has been used to power and infuse the Nightwell with energy that drives the Nightborn civilization, and we need to go and retrieve it if we want to have any hope of success. Now, though this is Gul'dan's base of operations, this isn't a dark demon raid. This is a majestic elven city. This is the height of elven civilization. And so it's actually a really exciting zone for us to build and a very new type of environment for us to set a raid in. So the way we start as we're building a raid, we start initially with a 2D layout like this that has a rough framework of where the bosses are going to be arrayed, what the rooms are going to look like, what the flow through each floor is going to be. This is a cross-section of the middle floor of the Palace of Suramar. So we take that alongside with some concept art. This was a piece that was originally shown at Gamescom that shows that exact same courtyard. And our dungeon artists begin to sort of execute putting the two together. And one of the great things about the palace is that this is an open, sprawling space with an astronomer's observatory, with botanical gardens, with guest quarters. It's a functional space that once stood as a monument to a civilization at really the heights of Azeroth, but now it's in the hands of a deep corruption and deep darkness. We need to go to root out some of the Legion that are in there, but also the Nightborn that have betrayed their own people. So let's look at some of the enemies. You're going to be fighting a Dreadlord Ambassador. This is one of the most powerful Dreadlords in the Legion, who is on hand to make sure that everything goes according to plan, that Gul'dan doesn't fail the Legion again, and that the uneasy allies they have in the Nightborn do not disappoint them. And the Grand Magistrix of the Nightborn herself, who has basically power over time given to her by the Eye of Aman'Thul and the Nightwell. She's one of the most powerful mages in existence, and she's going to stand in our way before we can get to Gul'dan, who will be the final boss of this raid. So it's a little bit about our raids. Now let's dive into dungeons. So you've heard me say before that dungeons are at the heart of the Legion expansion in a way that I think dungeons have been at the heart of no other previous expansion. We have 10 dungeons coming for you in Legion. So first off, let's go over a quick look at the level up dungeons that you're going to be experiencing. And then we'll take a closer look at a few of them and then talk about some other stuff. So level up dungeons. The Eye of Ashara is in Azuna. This is the place where you'll continue and finish up the storyline of that zone. Neltharion's Lair in High Mountain was once the cavern home of the dragon Deathwing before he was Deathwing, when he was Neltharion. It's now hollowed out, and this has become the capital of the Drogbar civilization, and you're going to have to go in there at the conclusion of the zone storyline to retrieve the Pillar of Creation from the Drogbar's hands. Halls of Valor and Darkheart Thicket I'll be talking about more in a second. Violet Hold, of course, Violet Hold is in Dalaran. As Dalaran moves, always going to be some shenanigans, always going to be some things afoot in Valid Hold. Somewhere along the way, it's not available right as you level up, but there'll be something that happens in the city that's going to require you to go in here. Now, something you've noticed as I've talked about these dungeons is we really want to integrate them into the storyline of the zones more than we have recently. They're not just complementing the zone or giving you, a look at a different aspect of the zone's ecology. Instead, many of our zone quest lines directly culminate in dungeon experiences. We want the dungeon to feel meaningful and every bit as part of the zone as the quest you're doing outside. Oh, and of course, since the world as a whole is flexible and nonlinear, the dungeons also can be done in any order as you level up, depending on what zones you choose. So at max level, we have 5 more dungeons that you'll have access to once you hit 110. So in Azuna, you'll be able to return to the Vault of the Wardens, which Eric mentioned earlier as part of the Demon Hunter start experience. Demon Hunters escape from the vault as it comes under attack by the Legion and falls into ruin. You're going to need to go back there at max level to uncover the secrets of why the Legion was attacking in the first place, and what Gul'dan was up to, and why in the world he wanted Illidan's body. Blackrock Hold is a keep overshadowing Suramar. We'll be looking at that in a second, as well as Helheim. And then we have 2 dungeons in the zone of Suramar, actually in the city of Suramar itself. The Noble District is actually an outdoor dungeon set in the city of Suramar, where you're infiltrating the home of one of the most powerful noblemen in Suramar as he plays host to a party for many of the most powerful Nightborn and even the Grand Magistrix herself. This may be a rare opportunity to strike at the Grand Magistrix, and it's not something you can pass up. We're looking to create some gameplay in this dungeon that's very different from anything we've done, actually probably ever, in World of Warcraft. Suramar catacombs beneath the city, and in fact, these catacombs stretch beneath the entire zone. So the zone is riddled with this network of underground tunnels and interconnections, and we're going to need to go down in here to find an entrance to the palace. Even a little bit of a mini attunement, you might say. It's basically the only way, because of course you can't go in the front gate of the palace, it's all sealed up. The reason why you're going in here is to find another way in. Maybe there are hidden secrets. The way the palace is going to work, actually, you will come in from underground and work your way up through the very foundations of the Nightwell, through the basement of the palace, to eventually reach its highest heights. Now let's look at a few dungeons more closely. So, Darkheart Thicket. This is a level-up dungeon in Val-Shara, and this takes place at the foot of the corrupted world tree, Shaladrasil. You're going to venture in here to the heart of the forest's corruption, and you're going to need to do this as a culmination of the zone's storyline to rescue an ally who's been trapped in the clutches of the nightmare. Let's take a look at what this looks like. So unlike the raid, which actually takes place in the nightmare itself, the dungeon is really at the foot of the world tree, still rooted in our world and our reality, but you're seeing the threat that it poses if it's allowed to seep out fully. So now in Stormheim, we have a couple of dungeons to talk about more closely. So the Halls of Valor, or Level Up Dungeon, this is very heavily inspired by the mythology of Valhalla. And these are the halls, the golden glowing halls in the skies, where the greatest warriors of the Vrykul go, so that they can spend eternity brawling and feasting and hunting and reveling in their glory. Odin sits on his throne overseeing these lands, and you need to go here, and you're actually going to be brought here by your race against the god king of the Vrykul in service of the Legion, who's also seeking to claim the Aegis of Agramar. The 2 of you are going to come to a deadly confrontation in front of Odin as you each seek to prove your worth and prove that you are the one that is worthy of holding the Pillar of Creation known as the Aegis. Let's look at the Halls of Valor.